Revisiting high school nostalgia and adulthood. So, we're going to go over a few examples of ways you could relive high school nostalgia, high school nostalgia, and try to see if you can relive that in your adulthood, in your adult life. And the way I'm going to go about this is it's going to be the impression, the feeling of as if you're still in childhood and not necessarily griping about it or being upset about it. It's just you're living in the moment, but still feeling that childhood wonder, that childlike wonder, where you were actually a kid again, and you're not to worrying about leaving that behind too much, and just having the glamour of over time. Maybe for healing purposes too. This could also be shadow work based, but it's just a little bit of a glamour about it, and then we might include a little bit about uh, things around childhood and nostalgia, or just coping in general, or even friendships in general. It could be about friendships. It could also be about other things. So, the first thing we have is the getting dressed for school element. Okay, so for this, you ever have that feeling where you're getting dressed for school and getting ready, and the house feels morbid. It feels like it's a hot tundra where it feels mysterious, but also feels overwhelming. And that feeling is invoked from preparing for school, right? Because you brush your teeth, you get dressed, you get your uniform, you get you get your breakfast, you get maybe some coffee and some cereal or some orange juice and bacon, egg, and toast, and then you get get your folders ready, your homework, and you put them in your backpack, and then you get the backpack on your back and your uniform on, and you comb your hair, you maybe wash your hands, and then you go out the door and head for the bus stop out in the neighborhood, or you head for the car to get inside to prepare for the ride over to school. That feeling can be invoked by simply having a job. You can have a job. And having a job half the time implies uniforms anyways. So you have an outfit for your job. And if you're like me, if you were a bagger boy like me, you could have a job where you wear a uniform with a vest and an apron on, and half the time it was really just a vest, but there was a vest and an apron, and you have those on, or the uniform with the shirt and the dark pants and the black shoes, and you have stuff like that ready. So basically, a job would require you to also have a uniform, right? And then you wear that uniform to participate in the job. It gives, I swear to God, it gives off the same energy as if you're going preparing for school with the uniform on. Like when we're preparing for school in the morning, it's the same energy. The house feels morbid. It feels like a hot tundra. It's it's mysterious but also overwhelming. The exact same evoked feeling when you're preparing for school. That's what happens when you're getting the uniform on for work. So, if whenever I was preparing for work, I also felt like I was going to school because I was that prideful about my uniform. I actually was, honestly, if I'm being completely honest, I was that prideful when I was going to school too, because putting on the uniform made me feel like I was a person. It made me feel like I was worth something in my own way, you know. So then we have getting on the school bus. You know how you get on the school bus in the morning and it's still early and you wait for the bus, and the bus comes and you're like, oh, this is my zone. And then these people I go to school with from my neighborhood. I didn't have that many personally from my neighborhood, but the other neighborhoods nearby had plenty of people, wherever. This is what it is. But I think not every school bus neighborhood was like that. I think some people were lucky and they had dozens of people coming with them, and others just had only a few people with them. Like me. It was all one other girl, and that's it, going on my school bus. And you ride the bus, and it's comfy seats. If it's raining outside, you have that leisure going on for you. But that pleasure, the pleasant hearing and feeling of raindrops dropping on your shoulder, on your hair, as you enter the school bus. Otherwise, it's a sunny day, and inside the bus, you can see the sounds and hear the sounds of people and passerbys in the cars and concrete pathways in buildings as you drive by in the school bus in other neighborhoods, and then you get to the school. So it takes one or two neighborhood route, and then it goes to the school. and you see all those sceneries, and you get to have all the chatter on the bus, conversations going on, and you have that going. You talk with your friends, or you talk with the people you know, associates, and you just hear the chatter in the bus. Otherwise, either way, and it's invigorating because it's a bunch of kids your age, and you may not recognize them, but you just know that it's a vibe to have, and then you finally push to school, and you're like, wow, we're here. We're in the school campus, and we have the bus, and it feels invigorating to get into the school campus from the school bus. And you enter inside the school, you go inside, and you see this wide area. It's like, oh, this is the school in the morning. We got like 30 minutes to catch up with what we need to do, or 15 minutes if you were late, and then the bell rings, you have to go to class. How do you encapsulate that feeling of being on the school bus? You take the metro bus. Cha-ching. You take the metro bus. And this is look at this. I'm not trying to oversimplify it, but like the metro bus invokes a lot of the same feelings as a school bus. You feel like you feel like you're going on an adventure, right? Like you wait for the metro bus and you're at the metro stop, and there's a bench that you can sit at that's really invigorating if it's clean. Even if it's not clean, it's still invigorating. And you wait there with people, and then you have conversations with people at the metro stop, and then you maybe buy like an ice cream cone and an energy drink at the corner store before you ride the bus. Because that's what I would do. Like I would buy an ice cream sandwich and an energy drink before I was riding on the bus one time to the mall, to Wilbur Mall, and I would ride the bus there with my energy drink almost finished, and then ice cream sandwich already finished. That's a vibe though, but like that's may not you going to school, but or even going to college school, but it is a vibe. So it's like, So you talk to people on the metro stop, and you eat your energy drink and your other fruit goods or whatever snacks you have, and then after you're done, you get on the bus after it stops, and you take it one step at a time. You find a comfy seat to chill at and chill in the air conditioning. Sometimes in the back of the bus they have the air conditioners in the rear, so you can lean on those and be like, oh, that's relaxing. It's hot air from behind the bus. And then, or you can sit on the other sides of the bus and then look at the scenery, and it's relaxing. Especially if it rains, then you can see the rain scenery, and hear the raindrops on the windows, and then you see the skies are pretty, and they have clouds and they have sunlight that is gleaming past the buildings, and then so you see the scenery, and you get on the bus, and you ride through the past the cars on the bus, and you hear all the sounds and all the stops. And all the times that the bus stops for people to get on. And it encapsulates that feeling of we're on an adventure, but we're still okay. And then you get to the destination, and you're like, oh, this is relaxing. I can get off the bus finally. After a 30-minute rest. 30 minutes or an hour of destination stopping. That feeling of being on the metro bus is encapsulated the same way as being on the school bus. Because you're going on a bit of an adventure. I mean, the school bus is a little faster. It takes only 15 to 20 minutes to get to the neighborhoods, and then the last 10 minutes is to actually go to school. So it's not trying to get the school for only a whole damn hour, but unlike the metro bus, which is doing its own route thing, it's scheduling. Because on the metro bus, you get to your destination, you start to do more walking because it's not accurate, because it's only going to the stops themselves, not the actual destinations. But it doesn't have to know that because it's going to the stops regardless. So. Yeah, that's my alternative for the school bus. Now, the feeling of being in class, in homeroom. How do you encapsulate being in homeroom with an adult life figure? Well, you need a home station. And the obvious route about this is just simply be at home. And be at your work desk. Like where I am right now. I'm in my room in my desk. In front of my computer, that would be my homeroom. It's as close as I can get to the idea of being at home without being too sparse about it. But yeah, it's like when you're in homeroom, you're getting things set up. You're setting the standards for the day, and this is my standard for the day: being with myself. Damn it! It's just, you know what I mean? It's like, that's as close as I can get. And homeroom would be like that. And I'm probably going to bring up my desk again in the future of this video. But, you know, homeroom would be like, you're trying to set up standards for the day and relax and chill for a bit. And I'm chilling right now for my desk anyways, so that's why I would say for it. So, going to your next class. It doesn't have to be specific. It doesn't have to be like science or history or math or English, or gym or whatever. You go to your next class, and that's when you're doing attendance calls. And you have to do head counts for everyone in your home, damn it. But it might be funny if you did word like that. If I had to say it like that, well, I'm gonna have to count everyone living in my house right now. Are you here? Are you here? Are you here? No, it's just. But any next class you have has to be a change in a location in the school. But that could just be a change of atmosphere and perspective at home. So at home, if you want to change your perspective, you don't have to even literally leave your house. You could just go like the backyard and change your perspective for a bit. And that'll change how you feel at the home. But if you don't leave the house, you can still just go to a different room. Like, I could go to the living room, and that'll be a change of perspective for me like it's a different class. And I can try something completely different over that area of the house. So, the feeling of being in the cafeteria, of buying food from the cafeteria with your lunch money, and then going to sit at a table with your friends to talk to them. How the hell do you encapsulate that? Well, what can I say as far as the cafeteria is concerned? You know how you get like the box milk, the box chocolate milk, and the sides of the vegetables and the fruits, and the fruit cup, the vegetable sides, and you get like whatever sandwich or mystery meat or taco, whatever they sell at the cafeteria. I know how I was there, but I'm just saying, like, for example, what it would be like. And if it had to be like that, emulated, then I would say that you basically emulate that as much as possible in your adult life. So you go to like a corner store or a grocery store near your house, and you buy the ingredients as follows. You buy a small chocolate milk bottle. You then buy a bag of chips, and you buy ingredients for a sandwich. So you buy the little bread loaves. They might sell small French bread loaves that could be bouillons. The bouillon bread can do that. You can buy the bouillon bread at the Mexican market, and then you can, or a bakery nearby in your grocery store, and then those are cheap. And you can buy the meat and cheese at Singles are also there as well. And then as well as buying the chocolate milk bottle, and then you can buy probably extra just chocolate milk, or just buy extra strawberry milk with the chocolate milk, and a bag of chips, or some kind of like snacks like Twizzlers or candy, and then buy like a smoothie if they have one available. Buy a smoothie or an ice cream sandwich, and then bring that with you, and then eat that at the cafeteria that's inside your grocery store or inside your Mexican market. Because my Mexican market did have a cafeteria inside of it, and it even had tables inside, so you're able to sit there and eat your lunch there. And because I was lucky to have that in where I used to live, they had like a Mexican meat market, and you could like sit at the cafeteria and order stuff from this cafeteria to like meet up those demands. Like, because they have like a meat section where you could buy meat meals, and right next to it they have the tables and seats. And that emulated a cafeteria so closely. I was like, I'm not even kidding. That's as close to the cafeteria experience as you can get as an adult. It gets harder elsewhere. I mean, you can go to the mall and eat at the mall, and that emulates the atmosphere of a cafeteria because they have a lot more people there. So when you're at the mall, you buy the food at the mall, and you just sit somewhere and you talk, make some friends there. I haven't had the luckiest experience making friends at the mall, so I couldn't tell you if it's possible. I don't make friends at the meat market either because they're all randos. But at the mall, it's harder to tell because I'm antisocial, I guess, and I don't know how to make friends with random people. But yeah, that's how you would emulate the cafeteria experience. And making friends, you just try to like talk to people at random, And if they only leave them alone, leave them alone. Otherwise, you just try to get lucky with them, and hopefully you do. And then finally, we have the gym experience. No, not the gym experience. The recess experience of school. If you have a courtyard, remember if you had a courtyard in school, it was easier to say you could do. Because if you don't have an open area at school, like I had in middle school, you would have to have a courtyard. I was lucky enough to have a courtyard in high school, so we had a courtyard, and you could talk to people on the boardwalk, and hang out there with your backpacks and folders and binders and stuff like that. The best way I can emulate a courtyard experience is just the backyard of my house. And if I had to emulate a open area like a recess area, I would just go to the concrete path near my house, because that makes me feel like I'm outside, out in the open. It feels like I'm walking on a path like the open recess area, like a loop like that, but an open area where it goes straight up anyways. And so I'll be walking up the concrete path rather than going in circles, but it would still feel like I'm trying to live my life and socialize. If I was with other people talking to them, that's even better. But I don't have any friends at this point in my life yet. Not that I can speak of. There are some like a Roosh, but they're far in between. So a Roosh Shaw, if you know who you are. But so that's how I would emulate the experience of being at recess, of being outdoors. To emulate being at the gym, it's a hard spell. It's hard to speak on. Or to emulate being at the music room, or like a band room, or to emulate being in a karate gym or dojo. Not really something I can explain easily. I know there are Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu dojos out in the area in Houston, but I wouldn't dare say that they'd be examples of where you would go to. Unless you're going to the gym. Like if you're going to the gym for membership, then yeah, go to a gym membership area and use that as your gym experience from school. I'm not saying the gym membership is the same as being at the gym in school or PE, but it does emulate that significantly. Obviously, they're both the same thing in different ways. They're not always entirely the same, but there are different experiences depending on the experience you have as an individual, from being a child or an adult. But that's what I would say about that. So if you do have a gym membership, you can emulate that experience of being in PE in high school by going to your gym and exercising, and going to the sauna and the jacuzzi and the swimming pool, and then just going to the showers, and which they actually did have in high school, but not where I went to high school, or at least I didn't know at the time. But yeah, and then finally, that's emulating being in the gym, right? Any gym, like high school or adult life membership. So finally, we have emulating after school activities, or going back to home on the school bus. I mean, going back home on the school bus is like no shit. Just going back home on the metro bus. The experience of going back home on the metro bus would just be, you ride the metro bus on the same route backwards, and then you try taking the experiences going back home. The sunset, the cars driving by in swift rush hour, and then you just take it in and you like it. And that's if you get home, and then you walk home on the way out of the bus on the path home, and then you take the winding routes back home on the pathways, walking home, and then you finally get home and you get inside the house. Same way as you would if you were on the school bus coming from school. Unless you have a ride home from a car from the bus, then you're lucky. Or you had a car ride home from the school in the first place. But if you're off from after school activity, and after school activity is hard to emulate because they were actually fun at the time, and even though people worked hard and late in those hours, they were still fun to do. I'd say after school activity would be like, it would just be like working hard at something at home. Like for me, that would be claymation. I could do claymation and treat it in the same way as being after school activity. So if it was like later in the day and I want to do claymation for some reason, then yeah, I could do claymation at home, and that would be my after school activity, because I'd be emulating that from high school. An after school activity, which I could imagine people doing claymation in high school as after school activity, or as an art class thing that they do later in the day, or when they get to art class. So when they do claymation at least, but as a side project for like an art project. And so claymation for me would be my emulation of an after school activity, of being in school still after the day's over. And then if I did claymation for an hour or two and it was so late in the day, and I'd be like, yeah, it's a feeling accomplishment, I can go home now. But I'm already home, so I don't have the bus to do that. The metro bus, at least. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all the ways you can emulate and reimagine high school life and childhood through adult life and adulting and adult life and adulthood. Hope you enjoyed this video. I talked quite a bit about things that made no sense, but to me they did. So I hope they did for you as well. If you liked the video, please drop a like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I enjoy reading the comments. I really do. I even respond well to trolls for some reason. I don't know why I talk to trolls, but I don't like leaving anyone alone. So, and share the video as well. These vlogs are getting trickier to make because I'm not getting as inspired to make them. I always have plenty of videos to make and plenty of thumbnails to use for now because I use the anime thumbnails. So I'm running out of different anime to use thumbnails for. I use a thumbnail for each new anime I think about, but I'm running out of ideas for that. But I love making the videos. I just don't get enticed to make them. I don't know why. I have a demotivation issue where I want to make videos, but I want to get enough traction to make them. I want to get enough people watching my videos to make these videos, so I don't have to feel bad about not getting enough views on my videos. So please give me more views on the videos. Give me more like comments as well. And I really enjoy reading them. And that's all for now, I guess. Stay someone because someone's just on the move. This has been Auto Crosswind. Take care. I'll see you in another video, maybe in a few more days or in a day or two later, about another topic with an anime thumbnail. We're gonna use the Lucky Star as the thumbnail. So that's the relevance there is high school. It's high school. That's the relevance. High school and adulthood, which they technically are at that point because they're 18-year-old. Whatever. I'm not gonna say anything else. You get the drill, right? Adulthood, childhood, reliving the shadow and trauma of growing up too fast and getting to adulthood from childhood and growing up way too fast. So having to relive that trauma by growing up too fast, and so you have to find ways to cope. And so this is how I'm helping you cope, is by helping me cope as well, by imagining ideas for how you could relive the past without moving on too fast. And so you could do these strategies to help relive the past and see if it helps you move on better. Because that's what I would help you do, guys. At this point, this is a tutorial. So, thank you very much. Take care, guys.